They're super fun, like indie, like psych wave. Like I don't know what the fuck that means.
Hey everybody, I'm Matt Mosby and you're on air with Radio Chatter. Today joining me on the flight deck, I've got Jeff Innes from Yukon Blonde.
What's up?
Have you ever been inside a small plane, Jeff?
No.
Well, we'll show you how it's done, and you can show us how it's done after that.
Okay.
Jeff is the lead singer-songwriter for Juno Award-nominated indie rock band Yukon Blonde. He's led Yukon Blonde on stage at world-class festivals like Osheaga, Pemberton, and Squamish, while finding the time to record critically acclaimed solo work under the pseudonym High Ends. So we're right over top of Galiano Island right now. How's it look from the air compared to the ground?
It's wild. It looks so different. There's so many things that I didn't even know existed.
Well, you've lived on and off here since about 2014-ish, before you went to Spain. There's been like recording on Blonde, among others, and hanging out with loved ones, taking film photos, and taking Olive on adventures. So what does Galiano Island mean to you?
I mean, I can tell you like that I love it. I mean, when I first came to the island, I didn't know anybody. I felt like Vancouver was too expensive, and I didn't really have a space to kind of create. And this opportunity came up. It was really cheap, and I could like bring studio gear here, and I kind of just took up the opportunity, even though I didn't know anybody. And over the course of living there for the past few years, I've met so many amazing people. I've met musicians that I've toured with. Like the island has become easily one of my favorite places on the planet.
Some would say that like Pender Island has too many deer, and some people think that Salt Spring has too many hippies. And so like,
I'd say Galiano has more deer than any of them.
Really?
You will not drive up this like Porlier Pass Road right here. You won't drive up it ever without seeing at least 2 or 3 deer. Ever.
Have you like hit deer on the island?
No, but everybody I know has, and I feel like my time is coming. And I'm worried about my van.
But like each of the islands, all the Gulf Islands have sort of a unique flavor to them. And like, how did you end up picking Galiano over, say, like Pender or Main Island or whatever?
Well, I mean, our bass player James, he was friends with the family that runs Neptune Records in Vancouver, and they let us stay at their spot, which was that big house next door to mine. And we went up there. We recorded a bunch of On Blonde there.
Right.
I kind of kept in touch with them, and there was a little cabin beside the house, and I was like, if that thing ever comes up for rent, let me know. And like 2 years later, they were like, hey, are you still serious about that offer? And I was like, yeah, I know. And I was like, and it's funny because it came at this time where I was just like kind of burnt out of the city, and I didn't really know what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And I did something I felt like that was totally reckless for me. I'm not like that. And I just packed up and moved to the island.
Just like up and left.
Yeah.
Would you say it was like impulsive almost, or was just like a really quick decision?
I feel like it was kind of impulsive, yeah. I remember the night before I actually moved here, I was kind of freaking out. And I was like, what the hell am I doing?
What have I just done? Yeah,
what
did
am
I make a mistake?
Yeah. and then I moved here and I realized like I had nothing to panic about. It was like people make real decisions every day, and that wasn't a real decision. It was a no-brainer. Galiano
is a nice segue too, because you have your family out here fairly often, and I mean, some people don't talk to their family much. You, on the other hand, you're very, very family oriented. So I've been told that I couldn't let you onto this plane without asking you about the tar on the kitchen floor and pancakes
Oh
story.
my god.
So can you provide a little bit of context there?
It's stupid. My family brings us up all the damn time. All the time. The way that they tell the story, I don't even remember it, but the way that they tell the story is that my family had just freshly tarred the roof, and I used to always go up on the roof, and they told me to not go up there because they had just tarred the roof, and I did anyways. Instead of like doing the normal thing, and I mean this is typical of me. I don't know. I'm a bit of a space cadet. So I walked into the house and I trudged all this tar that was from our roof into our house.
Oh no.
And the way that my mom tells it is that my excuse for doing that was that I smelled pancakes. And I was like, what? I smell pancakes. So I ran into the house.
Hey, who could blame you? I mean, like, I think everybody's done something embarrassing to get pancakes or some kind of food that they like.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I was obsessed with like breakfast foods when I was a kid. Like obsessed. It's all I ate for like 5 years.
Like for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it was like bacon
no, cereal and pancakes. That's all I ate.
Oh my god,
and,
that sounds like a dream. I love breakfast.
Yeah,
food.
I haven't really done it though. I haven't really eaten any of those things in a long time. You can't really live on that stuff though. Like it's not sustainable.
I understand that's not the only story involving a floor and some explaining that you had to do. So it sounds like this pattern extended to carpets as well. Does the chair incident ring a bell by chance?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, family, if you're listening to this, you guys suck, man. I bought a 9 Inch Nails poster, and I put it in my backpack, and it got all wrinkled, so I was ironing it, trying to get it flat again, because I heard you could do that. But I left the iron flat down on the carpet. And I think that this is what they're talking about because I seared an iron hole into our carpet, and then
That's nuts.
And then I put a chair on it. I was a shitty kid.
So do you want to fly a little bit above your house? Here's the caveat.
Okay.
You have to do turns. If we fly, you can fly over Mount Baker too, but over here you basically have to keep this turn going. Like that's all you get to do over the house.
Okay.
So just hold on to this for a second. We keep this in the turn, and then.
Okay. So which is the? If
you can
I
push a little
push
bit
to go down.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's stressful as fuck, but
I feel you.
You
can roll it level right now. Actually, just
Okay.
fly straight towards like that ship over there for a second.
Okay.
And then we can crank a left-hand turn too. Look to the left to make sure there's no traffic.
Yeah.
And then let's start a left-hand turn. And
oh man, this is really. Can you take the controls?
yeah. Just you can push it a little bit.
Okay.
A lot of stuff going on at the same time.
Okay.
You're doing this. This is great. And a
Okay.
tiny bit of back pressure.
Okay.
And just hold that.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh my
That's
god.
amazing.
Oh god, this is this is.
And we'll get out of the turn. So just keep the turn going, and we'll get out of it in a second.
Okay.
And now you can start gently rolling out of the turn. Boom.
Oh.
Right on the money for 25.
Okay.
2,500 feet. You crushed it. That's like standing ovation right there.
Oh god.
Okay, I'll take it from here.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
We can do that again over Mount Baker. Dude, that's awesome.
Oh
right.
man, I mean,
How's that feel?
it felt good. It felt there's a lot of pressure, because you can feel that it's doing something mechanical. Like
It's like a life form almost.
It
It's
is
like an animal.
It was really weird. I felt like I had way too much power in my hands. Oh man, that's just gorgeous. It's so cool. I've never flown right over top something like that so close.
So, you've dabbled with a few beers, whether from Madrid to Toronto to Portland to Osaka. And so how fitting that Yukon Brewing was nice enough to provide us with the next best thing to Yukon Blonde, which is what, Jeff?
I have no idea.
Yukon Gold. That's right. Contrary to popular belief, it's actually not a potato, but it's a refined English pale ale straight out of Whitehorse. So I've got a little bit of that Yukon Gold for us here. Let's just grab a quick view of that. So here we are. Thanks so much. I'm going to pass this back to you. You can actually reach down in the pouch there. So thank you so much to Yukon Brewing for hitting us with the beer there.
Yeah. You guys, Yukon Brewing should make a blonde ale as a type of beer. It would be very easy for them to make a Yukon Blonde.
It pains me to say that they actually they do have it, but
Really?
I couldn't get it because they only have it in kegs, and we can't take a keg in here. So if you go to Whitehorse, you could have Yukon Blonde.
That's so funny. Thanks, Yukon Brewing. We should keep in touch with each other.
Yukon Blonde's Instagram is completely fired. Like, it's totally awesome. I love Yukon Blonde. And so the stories are really funny. And one of my favorite recurring segments is the interpretations of artwork inside of hotel lobbies and hotel rooms and whatnot. So I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I brought a couple pieces of artwork with us here. And
I'm not the guy. In fact, I can't do it to the point where they don't even do it when I'm around. I'll usually find out about those hotel interpretations, like the art interpretations, from my bed on Instagram. I'll like, oh, our band posted a story, and then I'll just be like crying, laughing. Like, I can't keep it together when they do it. It's too
Let's
funny.
just look at it and just say nothing about it. We can just like appreciate it, and then.
Oh, that's nice. I actually really like that.
What do you think of this one?
That's kind of my thing. I like that. That's really, it's really amazing. Like. She is not impressed. Whatever she's looking at, she's not impressed at all. You know, I want to be positive about things today, but I gotta be honest. I hate this painting. I'm gonna give it. I don't know. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do a full 180 on this. I'm gonna say I hate it, but I'm gonna say it reminds me of Power, Corruption, and Lies by New Order.
Describing the sound of Yukon Blonde and your solo work with High Ends is something that there isn't really a firm consensus on in your interviews or in the media outlets, reviews of your albums and everything. And I'm not going to ask you to interpret or describe the sound, but like, what are some of the more inaccurate things that you've heard people try to label your music as?
I don't really know. I mean, in the same way that I have a really difficult time, putting genres or labels on other music, like other people's music.
Totally.
At the exact same time, I wouldn't be able to really tell anybody that what we're doing isn't what they're saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if somebody wants to call us like lollipop, like indie metal, I'd be like, yeah, maybe. Like, I guess. I don't really know. Like, I feel like just in the same way that you don't really want to label people, you don't really want to label. You just kind of like.
Artwork.
But you can kind of like steer people in a direction. So like broad strokes are fine for me. Comparisons are totally fine. And but like I said, if it helps people sort of navigate their way around our music or stuff that they like, I'm totally fine with that. Like labels, indicators, like they're fine. I can't do that. I have a difficult time. Like, if somebody were to ask me like what kind of band, I don't know, Tame Impala is, I'd be like, I don't know, they're like an alternative rock band.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at it.
Yeah, totally.
They're kind of like, they have like synths and stuff, but like they're like good synths. And then I'll get too specific. I'll be like, I don't know, they use like a Sequential Circuits Pro 1 and a Roland Juno to do Lonerism, and then they really got into like the Korg M1 and the I just get too specific. But I wouldn't be able to be like, I don't know, like they're super fun like indie like psych wave. Like, I don't know what the fuck that means.
So that's not offensive to you when Wikipedia tries to like box you into indie rock. They just call it indie rock on Wikipedia.
No, indie rock is chill. Like it's become like it's such a big genre now. Like, you know, that like FKA Twigs or something like that's like indie rock, and I'm like, I don't know how that's indie rock, but like, okay, like if it can go that far, like Travis Scott is like indie rock rap, and I'm like, I'm into it. Like, I don't care. Like,
yeah, it's so funny when you listen to something that's supposed to be indie rock and you have this expectation of what it's going to sound like, and then you flick it on and you're like, whoa, this is so different than what I was thinking was indie rock.
Yeah, totally. It's not all the weaker thans anymore, you know, or the Constantines, which are amazing, but that would be like your indie rock signifier, which is no longer, you know. Oh, I have to take a picture of this. This is insane.
Some of the Instagram folks have said, what is it, neutral good? At least you're not chaotic evil. And then there was also folky wub wub.
That was actually a really good way to kind of like look at something, because everything was just relative in that graph. For those people who aren't, you know, don't know what we're talking about, there was a meme that had our band name and other Vancouver band names in it, and we were all sort of a part of a spectrum. So we were kind of in the middle. But in the middle is also kind of its own boring range. Listen, all music is boring. You just... I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. All music can be interesting. I don't know. It depends on where you're at. I'm finding my way back into... I haven't listened to jazz in a really long time.
Oh, man.
And I kind of had a bit of a problem with it for a little while, because a lot of people I know were like, I'm all jazz these days, and I no longer listen to guitar-oriented music, and I'm like, I'm not into it anymore, I guess.
It's like they're looking down on people.
Yeah. And then, but I started getting into it again. Like those early Miles Davis records, The Birth of Cool. Like, who calls the record The Birth of Cool? Like, what a... Or Bitches Brew, but I mean, that's later, but like, The Birth of Cool is so awesome. Like, but it's kind of funny, like, I'd listened to that stuff a little while ago, and I was just like, I don't have the patience for that. And right now, I'm just like so inspired by it. I just want to, like, you know, learn how to play like his lines on guitar so I can understand them better. And I haven't been in a place like that in a while. I'm feeling really good about it. But yeah, all music can be boring or super interesting. Depends on where you're at, I guess.
You talk about the importance of constantly evolving, and you've said in the past, we sound how we want to, when we want to. And so with the recording that you've been doing with the Blonde recently, what kind of flavors have you been playing Mad Scientist with recently?
Well, kind of nothing. I mean, like, since basically Critical Hit ended, we started recording ourselves, like, exclusively. Like, we haven't been spending any time in studios. And so it's been a bit of a challenge, like, learning how to produce our own band without outside influence. And it's kind of hard, because you sort of have to tell someone, like, that was a good take, that was a bad take, put more energy into it, dial it back a little bit. Like, you have to have your finger on the button. And like, the person recording, or the band, like the few people tracking, actually have to listen to you as an authority. And it's been kind of interesting getting there, because we'll all put on the producer hats at different times, and we'll all track at different times. And it's been a really cool learning curve. It's like learning new boundaries within the band, capabilities that we didn't know that we really had within ourselves and each other. And it's awesome. Like, the expectations that we put on each other before were like really obviously limited now that we're getting a little deeper.
Jeff, so you talk a lot about how you try and write a lot, like 3 to 4 hours a day sometimes not at all, but you're also really comfortable admitting sometimes that, like, not every single song that you produce is an absolute masterpiece. So when you look at some of your most, like, popular songs, I Want to Be Your Man, Saturday Night, like, at what point of the process do you realize, like, okay, this thing's gonna be a banger?
You know what's funny is we got the opportunity to record with Randy Bachman, of all people, and
that's insane.
And like, I mean, that guy's had like actual hits, like, you know, American Woman and These Eyes, and You ain't seen nothing. Like, just like, and we asked him because we've asked ourselves that same question. We're like, is there any way that you can kind of like know whether or not a song is going to be a banger or a hit? And he's like, never. You can never, ever predict it. And it's funny because, like, we've always said the same thing. It's like, both Saturday Night and I Want to Be Your Man and Love the Way You Are were, like, joke songs. They were, like, throwaway, funny joke songs.
Really?
Yeah. Any song that's ever made it to the radio that we've ever done, there wasn't really, like, an intention there. Until there was a point, like, where we actually kind of realized that it had single potential because, you know, like, I would write the song, demo the song, and it'd be kind of like this jokey thing that we were kind of like messing around with. And then somebody kind of like in the band or outside of the circle would be like, this is the best song that you guys are working on. And so we take it a little bit more seriously. But like, you know, going to bed at night, and those would be the songs that were stuck in our heads. Like, it wouldn't be the songs that like I took really seriously or like thought was like the best song I've ever written. It'd be these songs that like I was kind of joking around with. And in retrospect, you know, we kind of all realized it's because that's when you feel your freest. That's like, it was the most fun we were having.
Yeah, and it's not like you weren't trying or anything like that. I mean, obviously, like you were putting your heart and soul into the songs and all that. But like, it always seems like the best things happen, whether it's in music or anything in life. Like when you're not really expecting them to, when it's kind of like just happens.
Yeah, it's when you're not
naturally
paying attention, when you're not like, you're not stressing out about it, you're not focusing too hard on it.
Yeah.
And but also that being said, like once we did realize the songs had like good potential, we spent a great deal of time on them. Like
afterwards, after you recorded them.
I mean, like the I Want to Be Your Man guitar tone, like Brandon and I spent like, I think we spent like 2 days working on that tone, which is something that is so uncharacteristic of us. Like, we usually find something and it strikes inspiration and we're like, let's do it. That guitar tone, we were like, it's almost there. It's almost there.
Every
and
time.
Like, yeah, and so what we ended up doing, which is kind of cool, is Brandon had his guitar, I had my guitar. We panned the guitars like hard left and hard right. And then we sent them through like an old, really old, shitty piece of gear and dimed it, like actually turned it to like 11. And Brandon and I played the exact same thing, like to the letter at the exact same time. So, I mean, that was a thing that like, even though it was a joke song originally, we spent like loads of time trying to get this like guitar tone that wouldn't sound, you know, too like machismo, like too like guitar tone.
Yeah.
But sound kind of quirky and kind of shitty, but also kind of psychedelic, but also like rockin'.
Yeah.
And it was hard to find that balance, and I'm glad we pursued it.
You sort of answered it already, but was there any song that really surprised you in how it ended up being receiving, whether it like completely fell short or if it just absolutely blew your expectations out of the water?
Yeah, there is a song that we actually don't even play live that people seem to really like, and it's Six Dead Tigers. We never play that song. Never. Yeah. And people love that song. And I don't know why. I think it's a thing that hit late. Like, we made a video for it, we tried on that song, but I don't think it really happened. And then like 2 years after it came out, people are like, man, that is your best song. We're like, what? Like, there's songs that have surprised me that they didn't do anything. But overall, like, people are smarter than us. Like, general public is smarter than we are. Like, we'll release a song, we're like, why isn't that doing well? And like later on, like a few years later, we'll be like, oh, it wasn't doing well because it was a shitty song.
All right, so it's time for a game that I like to play on all the shows. It's called Did You Dabble With It? And so I've got a few subjects, topics. Some of them have some truth to them. Some of them have, they're a complete shot in the dark.
Okay.
So the idea is I'll say the subject, rapid fire, and you tell us if you did indeed dabble with it. Let's get started. Cutting your own hair.
Did.
Chef Boyardee ravioli.
Did.
Throwing sweaty t-shirts at 90s metal bands.
Did.
Eating alone in mall food courts.
Did.
Button fly pants.
Did. Do. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Feng shui.
No, didn't.
Bicycle maintenance.
Did.
120 medium format film.
Did.
Recreational bomb defusal.
Did.
Linguistic history.
Did.
And last up, cooking curry dishes.
Yeah, oh, dude, yeah, for sure.
I mean, that was a slam dunk.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for playing Did You Dabble With It? So switching gears here, let's talk vans and buses. There's been a colorful history of your relationship with passenger-carrying automobiles, and so everything from the Alpha Baby van crashing to Ruby, the North American tour bus, to fixing Olive's broken window. And so how many times do you estimate you've popped open the hood of something with 4 or more wheels?
I mean, my van, I work on my van all the time. So, like, how many times? 1,000 times on my... I drive a Volkswagen van. If you drive a Volkswagen van and you're still going to a mechanic, you're going to be bankrupt in no time. So, learn how to work on your van. So, I kind of messed it up when I first got it. And then slowly kind of realized, like, there was little things that I started working on. You know, like, my dash lights would go out. And I'm like, well, I don't need to take that to a mechanic for that. Eventually, my clutch blew up. That was a big thing because I had to remove the transmission. And yeah, just from YouTube, the Samba forums, I like actually got through it, and I was like, okay, I just did like the craziest thing, and I've had that transmission out like 4 times now. I like know how to work on my van like the back of my hand.
This is a quote from you, Jeff. You're honestly the only thing standing between your music and an audience, so get out of your own way, give a shit, try harder, get better, and let everyone see the process and just go for it. Don't give into that asshole in your head. Yeah. And so I thought that was really inspiring, and so often nowadays it seems like society sort of glorifies this race to the bottom, and it's like whoever cares the least sort of wins. And so, like, why is that not the right approach in your mind?
I don't feel like that's not the right approach, because I mean, saying that something is or isn't the right approach to a creative kind of thing, I guess that's just not learning or growing. Like, I mean, there's different journeys that people got to go on to be creative and stuff. I do feel like there is a prevalence in society. Yeah, it's a bit of a race to the bottom, but also not caring so much is a big thing. Not caring so much in life is a big thing. I mean, like, I was on Reddit the other day. Actually, this is really weird because there was a thread in Ask Reddit, and it was like, what is the like most common piece of advice that you've seen old people, or like you've heard old people share? And they were just like, I wish I spent less time working and less time caring about work or caring about money. Like, I wish I just spent more time doing stuff and hanging out with my family. Like, spent more time with people. And I thought that was really cool, because it's just like in line with how I kind of move through life. It's just like your hobbies and your work and everything are very awesome, but like, don't lose sleep over it, you know? Or lose sleep when it's important, but like, don't lose your damn mind over it.
It's the moment that we've all been waiting for, the Instagram fan questions here. Okay. So basically, in rapid fire sequence here, let's go. At Holly the Panda wants to know, how did you all meet?
Graham and I met in high school, and we started jamming, just the two of us. And then we met Brandon, who worked in the mall in Kelowna. And those guys played in different bands, and I kind of convinced them to quit their bands and join what I wanted to do. So I met James. We'd hang out in the bar and drink together and talk about dub bass. Quickly figured out that we played bass really similarly, and so I told the band that he was going to be added as a permanent member. They were choked. But then we jammed with James, and they were like, this dude is awesome. Rebecca was a member of my solo touring band, which was called High Ends. So she was the keyboard player for that. And we were kind of almost done touring. We did some American tours and stuff, and we were done with that. And we all asked Rebecca to join Yukon Blonde. And since then, it's just been like the most amazing group of people. The 5 of us are kind of like, we're all best friends. And we write and work together really, really well. We found a forever home for everyone.
So sweet.
Yeah.
Rob Butterfield, how's your Westphalia transmission holding up?
It's good, man. You know, Rob, we flew over Rob's house at one point.
There you go.
Yeah.
No kidding.
But yeah, the transmission's holding up good. Thanks, buddy. I actually I did that in his garage. Like anytime I was telling you like swapping up my transmission the clutch or anything, it was in Rob's garage. He was nice enough to let me literally ruin the floor of his garage. Thank you so much.
And last but not least, we have at Terry Calderbank on tour. Have you ever been afraid for your life?
I'm afraid for my life right now. I'm just kidding. There's been a couple moments where things got pretty hairy. Yeah, car accidents, the usual stuff. All bands kind of have that sort of stuff, but
that's just usual. I didn't know that was usual.
It is usual. Bands roll their vans and crash their vans actually really often. So you younger bands out there, and even you more seasoned professionals, you know, rubber side down, please. Stay safe out there. I mean, like, I wasn't afraid for my life, but we had somebody hijack our van once while we were in it, and they pulled a knife on us. This guy was like psycho. We called the cops on him, and like, holy shit, it was pretty nuts. Like, Graham, our drummer, had to he got into a scrap with him. That happens to Graham kind of often, actually. But
there you go. Well, guys, you heard it here first. Jeff Innes, Yukon Blonde. That's it. That's all. There ain't no more. Thanks so much for coming up to Mount Baker with us, man. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been woozy, but it's been freaking amazing. It's been so cool. I can't believe I'm saying frickin'. I'm saying frickin' all the time.
I was doing it normally.
I was doing this as a hoser Canadian joke. I was like, "That's frickin' awesome, eh?"
Yeah,
or
bud.
Or the best thing. You're like, "Hey, are you guys freaking right now? Like, are you guys a thing?" Like,
I've never heard that. That sounds like Saskatchewan slang or something.
Amazing. But it's one of those things that seeps its way into your vernacular the more that you use it as a joke.
Oh my
You're like,
God.
It's friggin' awesome, eh? And now I do that all the time.
I've never been more shameful of being Canadian.
Is that Rainier over there?
In the far distance.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, we'll see you on the other side, Jeff.
Yeah, right on. Well, thanks for having me here. This has been amazing. I'll see you later.
Yeah, just open. You can just hop out right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. You know exactly what to do. Fasten your seatbelts and subscribe for more.